Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We will start now to see the practical sessions of the neurohistology. In first section, this slide representing a typical neurons. This is a single neuron, other neuron, neuron, and neuron. As we said, neuron is composed of perikaryon, cell body or the soma, and the processes which extending from the perikaryon. This is the axon of the neuron. Axon is originated from the axon hillock. This is the axon hillock, and this is the axon of the neuron. Cell body or the perikaryon is very huge with large rounded nucleus, and this nucleus is surrounded by those darkly stained areas representing the nestle bodies. Those are the nestle bodies which surrounds the nucleus, and they are present within the perikaryon, while those small cells are the supporting cells of the nervous system. Another section representing a neuron. This is a neuron. This is the nucleus of this neuron, perikaryon in fact of the neuron, and within the perikaryon darkly stained area representing the nestle bodies. Those small cells are the glial cells or the supporting cells. Typical neuron, perikaryon of the neuron, those are the processes or the dendrites of the neuron with the nucleus in the middle, and those darkly stained area are the nestle bodies, while those small cells representing the neuroglial cells or the supporting cells. Another neuron, perikaryon, the axon of the neuron, the axon hillock, and those darkly stained areas surrounding the nucleus representing the nestle bodies. Those are the dendrites of the neuron. Those small cells representing the neuroglial cells or the supporting cells. طبعا at this level مش مطلوب تعرفوا المايكروجليا من الاستروسايتس، بس تعرفوا انه those all small cells representing the microglial the glial cells. Again, perikaryon of the neuron, dendrites, axon hillock, and the axon. Those small cells representing the glial cells. 3 neurons, 3 perikaryon of the neurons with their cell bodies, and those small cells the neuroglial cells, and those are the dendrites and the axon of the neurons. Perikaryon, axon, dendrites of the neuron. This is the nucleus surrounded by the nestle bodies. Again, the same slide, many neurons, small cells representing neuroglial cells. Neuron, the axon, and nestle bodies, nucleus, another perikaryon of the neuron. This is a neuron which is stained with silver stain, and usually this type of sectioning usually can find where we can see those neuronal cell body inside the gray matter. So this is a gray matter. This is the neuron, very large cells. This is the nucleus of the neuron. This is the perikaryon, and those are the dendrites. And it is stained with silver stain to illustrate the lipid component within the nervous tissue. Small cells عبارة عن neuroglial cells. لما نحكي neuroglial it means the processes of the neurons. This is a peripheral nerve in longitudinal section. So this is a longitudinal section in peripheral nerve. Peripheral nerve عادة it contains axons, and those axons usually myelinated. As we can see, this is the axon, myelinated axon, and those are the nuclei of the Schwann cell, which forms the myelin sheath around those axons. وعادة types of nerves, sensory and motor, within the peripheral nerve. Both types of nerves. This is a peripheral nerve, each one of those representing an axon. Many axons within this peripheral nerve. This is the myelin sheath, and this is the perineurium, which surrounds a group of fibers, which surrounds the whole nerve is called the epineurium. Connective tissue which surrounds an individual axon is called the endoneurium. This is at low magnification how the peripheral nerves appear. Perineurium surrounding a group of fibers, while the epineurium surrounds the connective tissue which surrounds the whole nerve. So it's a peripheral nerve or nerve trunk at lower magnification. لما نشوفهم في تكبير أكثر راح نشوف lots of axons there. At higher magnification, those are the axons within the peripheral nerves, and each one of those axons is surrounded by the endoneurium, the connective tissue which surrounds the axon, while the perineurium, it means the connective tissue which surrounds a group of axons. Again, in a cross section, this is a peripheral nerve, single axon within a peripheral nerve. Each one, an individual one, is surrounded by the endoneurium. زي ما احنا شايفين في التكبير within this instance. This is the axon surrounded by the myelin sheath. وعادة myelin sheath H&E is white area. Those are axons within a peripheral nerves, and this is the perineurium, which is the connective tissue which surrounds the group of axons. This is osmium fixation. As you can see, those are the peripheral nerves. لما نشوفهم higher magnification راح نشوف الأكسونز اللي موجودين فيهم. طبعا those are fatty cells, large cells also. Those are the peripheral nerves, blood vessels, and the peripheral nerves. نشوفهم على تكبير أكبر. This is how we see the axons with osmium fixation. Osmium fixation حكينا بنستعملها to see the myelin which surrounds the axon. The dark area عبارة عن الميلين sheath. In the middle, the white area هي عبارة عن الأكسونز. This is a peripheral nerves containing many axons. وعادة those types of axons, they are motor and sensory axons. والconnective tissue which surrounds a group of axons is called the perineurium, while individual axon is surrounded by the endoneurium. هون الإشارة indicating non-myelinated axons. ما في أي stain within those area. Again, normal stain, routine stain for peripheral nerves. Those are the axons within a peripheral nerve, while this is the connective tissue which is called the epineurium. Higher magnification, those are the axons. وحكينا في ال H&E, this is the axon surrounded by the myelin sheath representing the white area. ليش؟ لأنه صارها dissolved during the preparation of the sections. This is cross section within a peripheral nerve. This is a cross section within a nerve trunk or peripheral nerve, and this is the connective tissue which surrounds the whole nerve, which is called the epineuroneurium. The group of fibers or axons is surrounded by the perineurium horn. Lots of axons all through, a higher magnification. Those are the axons, and this is the epineuroneurium which surrounds the whole nerve. Fascicle, F representing fascicle, a group of axons. ثم ننتقل إلى spinal nerve section, spinal cord section. Butterfly representing the gray matter, the right identical to the left. This is the ventral horn أو anterior horn, and this is the dorsal horn. في الventral horn شوفي عندي الموتور neuronal cell bodies. The dorsal horn receives the sensory أو afferent fibers. At higher magnification, this is the gray matter. Within the gray matter we can see the neuronal cell body. بينما في الوايت matter ما عندي neuronal cell body. This is the from the ventral horn or anterior horn. Again, this is the gray matter. هاي الاريا بين الجراي والوايت matter. هيا. As we can see, this is the gray matter, and while this is the white matter. Within the gray matter we can see the neuronal cell bodies. بينما في الوايت matter ما في الجراي matter neuronal cell bodies, neuropils, processes, and the supporting cells. Those small cells. في الوايت matter we have supporting cells and the neuropils, the processes of the neurons. في الوايت matter ما في عندي neuronal cell bodies. Only they are present within the gray matter. Again, another section. This is the gray, white matter, while this is the gray matter. Within the gray matter we can find neurons, and those are the pericardium of the neurons. زي ما احنا شايفين في الميدل في عندي nucleus, and the nucleus is surrounded by nestle bodies. This is the gray matter, while this is a white matter. The white matter only neuropils and glial cells. The gray matter neurons, glial cells, and neuropils. Another section within the spinal cord, as you can see, this is the gray matter, butterfly shape. This is the dorsal horn, and this is the ventral horn. Ventral horn عادة motor neurons. Dorsal horn, it receives sensory innervation from the dorsal root ganglia. This is the dorsal root ganglia in one side, and this is another side of the dorsal root ganglia, which carries the sensory innervation from the targeted tissue towards the neuronal cell body within the neuronal cell bodies within the dorsal root ganglia. واللي عادة هذول شو بيكونوا pseudo unipolar neurons. The sensory innervation comes to those neurons, then towards the dorsal root ganglia. في الفنترال حكينا موتور نيورون زي ما احنا شايفين في الدورسال روت جانجليا neuronal cell bodies. حكينا ganglia, it means aggregation of neuronal cell bodies outside the central nervous system. Those are the neurons. وعادة في الدورسال روت جانجليا pericardium أو neuronal cell bodies, they are fairly aggregated on one part of the ganglia. They are not distributed all through the ganglia زي ما احنا شايفين على شكل مجموعات في أطراف الجانجليا. This is the dorsal root ganglia, and nerves goes from them towards the dorsal root of the gray matter. Again, this is the dorsal root ganglia. Their fiber goes to the dorsal horn أو dorsal root, and this is the ventral horn أو ventral root of the gray matter اللي هون بيكون عندي motor fibers أو efferent fibers، بينما هون afferent fibers. At higher magnification, this is the dorsal root ganglia, and those rounded structure representing the neuronal cell bodies أو pericardium of the neuron. Typically dorsal root ganglia. Neuronal cell bodies are على شكل groups within the ganglia. Some parts ما فيها neuronal cell bodies, but they are aggregating in groups on parts of the ganglia. بينما تذكروا في autonomic ganglia عادة those neuronal cell bodies are fairly distributed all through the ganglia. With silver stain, this is a dorsal root ganglia. حكينا this osmium or silver stain to stain the lipids, to see the lipids. Those are the neuronal cell bodies within the dorsal root ganglia. Which type of neuron? Unipolar neurons. Again, they are aggregated in groups, not distributed all through the ganglia. At higher magnification, those are the unipolar neurons of the dorsal root ganglia. زي ما احنا شايفين they are aggregated in one part almost of the ganglia. At higher magnification, those are the pericardium of the dorsal root ganglia. Again, dorsal root ganglia, those are the neurons of the dorsal root ganglia. Dorsal root ganglia, this is dorsal root ganglia representing the pericardium, which is surrounded by those satellite cells, which usually surrounds the cell body of the neurons. حكينا the intensity of those satellite cells usually more than the intensity of the within the autonomic ganglia, who do not form synapses في الدورسال root ganglia. في الأوتونوميك في عندي synapses. Usually those fibers are myelinated، بينما في الأوتونوميك they are non-myelinated. This is an autonomic nerve ganglia. Multipolar neurons, fairly distributed. حكينا mostly those ganglias are located intramural within the organ. عشان هيك بنشوفهم fairly distributed. Multipolar neurons فيهم synapses. They are mostly non-myelinated neurons. So this is an autonomic ganglia. This is from the brain, cerebral cortex. As we can see, the main neurons within the cerebral cortex is the Purkinje neurons. The pyramidal neurons, the Purkinje within the cerebellum. This is the cerebral cortex, where we can find most neuron types are the pyramidal neurons, pyramid in shape. Thank you very much.